Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Call of Duty League Stage 5 Major. It is time for our second match. As you see players just moments ago entering into the esports stadium here in Arlington, Texas. I'm glad that we're inside because it feels like 157 degrees outside. I am slightly over exaggerating, but you still get the idea. Incredibly hot on the inside, but we are all feeling great on the inside. We've got some great Call of Duty still to come, and tell you what, man, this is going to be a fun match. Lando and Standy still guiding you guys through our early matches for the day. It will be another elimination game. Instead, it's a little bit odd. Atlanta FaZe in the elimination bracket, something that has not happened all year long.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. They have never been in this position. So if you're Seattle, you gotta be extremely nervous because you're going up against the best team in the game who are coming off of a tough loss versus that Røkkr roster. Obviously for Seattle, you have two great wins. You beat Paris, you beat London, but that's nowhere on the level of FaZe. They're gonna have to play their best Call of Duty today to try to take down these Titans.
Yeah, it's gonna take their best Call of Duty, and I'll be honest, man, when they're on land, they are playing their best Call of Duty. When we talk about this team at the Stage 4 Major, they turned up. So far at the Stage 5 Major, they are turning it up to a new level. Let's go ahead and meet the Seattle Surge. Fire coming in, but can Prestinni win the two? No. He does. That's 3 straight. Dashy versus Octane, and it's Sam who's able to come away with it.
On a classic. Trying to line him up. Trying to line him up in the final.
Looking to find a few more, but Gunless
Absolutely rips his way through the 3 of them.
249, Seattle won! Folks, join me in welcoming the Seattle Surge now to the stage. Classic, Gunless, Octane, and Prestinni, their 3rd match on land. So far here at the Major, you see the crowd hyped, excited to see this crew. But Stud, it cannot be understated, man. When this team, when this group are in a LAN environment, it's different.
It definitely is, man. They love LAN, especially Octane. At that Major 4, he was put up like a 1.7 in the hard point. And then ever since entering the building for Major 5, I feel like both the SMG players have really stepped up. Classic and Prestinni are just doing what they need to do for this team, especially in the respawns. You saw Classic yesterday pick up some streaks. Yeah. Prestinni had an unbelievable series versus London. And when you're going up against FaZe, you're going to need those 2 guys to really step up in the LAN department.
Yeah, that's a great point to mention, too. It's like, you know what, Seattle, you got to give them all the props in the world for what they've been able to do up to this point. But at the Stage 4 Major, this is kind of where their progress it kind of folded, right? They go 2 matches, they take down teams, and then it ends in their 3rd. Now they're coming in versus the Atlanta FaZe, where again it's a lot of positive discussion, but now it's all right, Seattle, you've been able to do it so far. Now you're going to have to ramp it up to a totally new level, considering the team that now sits on the other side. Folks, it is unfamiliar territory for this team. This is the first time that they have been in the elimination side of the bracket when it comes down to a major so far this season. Let's go ahead and meet the crew, the Atlanta FaZe.
The game has turned on its head.
Run! Run! Get onto the point! Cellium finds himself 2 more. Oh, baby! Absolutely slayed it. What a magnificent comeback from Atlanta.
Here they are. Welcome to the stage, the Atlanta FaZe. Interesting study. You hear that? I hear some boos in there. I hear some, some people a little excited. It's a little back and forth. Okay. I wasn't sure what to expect, but with that, how do you see this team rebounding after the loss they suffered?
It's gonna be scary watching these guys, man, because when you take a loss like that versus Røkkr, when you've been that #1 team the entire year, 3 major championships underneath your belt, starting in that loser bracket is all brand new to you. And for FaZe, if you go back to last year, this is basically a similar story. Towards the ending of the tournaments is when they started losing, and they weren't able to close it out at the champs as Dallas were able to win. But I feel like with that loss, it was a tremendous wake-up call that Atlanta FaZe need. It showed that all these teams are starting to catch up. They need to make sure that they're polishing their gameplay. And in this match today, I think they're absolutely going to dominate Seattle from start to finish, just to make a statement.
I'll tell you what, man, that would be a statement at some points. Again, now that we're on land, maybe obviously we hold Seattle in a higher regard in this particular environment. But what, man, last time that Atlanta FaZe lost, they came back and took them the Subliners in a 3-0, and what was like plus 73 in slang. It was absolutely absurd. Now let's walk me through our game field keys to victory here for Atlanta.
It's simple, man. Simp and aBeZy were held to 0.8s versus Røkkr, and you need to have a strong bounce back today versus a weaker SMG line. We've never seen them drop stats like that, and that was completely mind-blowing to me. Today, I'm expecting them to get right back on track as that crazy SMG duo and really turn up in the respawns. And then also, S&D has to get back on track. Throughout Stage 5, they're 4-3. And when we talk about Atlanta FaZe, we know that they are the most talented players that we have in the league, especially when you have all 4 of them on the same team. Their S&D should be picture perfect, but as of recent, they have been struggling. They need to make sure that they show improvements in that game mode today, and especially going forward through the rest of the tournament.
Alrighty, my friend, now our game field keys to victory here for the Seattle Surge. Prestinni is the key for their success at a 1.16 KD in the 3-0 versus the Ravens yesterday. And I tell you what, man, we got to give him props, but he cannot slow down today against those tiny terrors. Also, Octane needs to be at Lantane levels. Stage 5 KD so far, 1.43 in wins, 0.56 in losses. That's the search destroyed, by the way. Like we said, man, there's a lot of things to look out for when we talk about this Seattle roster, but man, I'll tell you what, Octane now back in front of the crowd. I'm hearing a little bit of noise. I think it's the Surge that are going to be on the crowd side here.
I think so, man. I think just based off of what the crowd did when Atlanta walked out, Atlanta are the enemy. They are the bad guy that we have in the CDL just because they're the best. But let's just take a look at our maps and modes between both of these teams. I really like Moscow for Atlanta. That's one of their strongest hard points. But as you go through the rest of these maps, Express Search and Destroy is one that they tend to struggle with. And Seattle, they really enjoy that. And then when Seattle also for that map number 3, they were struggling with control for quite some time. But getting that garrison underneath their belt, that was the map that they started to see success on in that game mode. So I think that these maps and modes are great for both of these teams. Just if you're Seattle, you cannot allow it to get to that game 5 because you have yet to win that one.
That's a great point. Again, if you're Surge, you got to try to stop this momentum early, and that's so often we talk about it. I mean, if you are going to be kind of this upset team, we know the Atlanta FaZe. I mean, the opportunity for you to be able to even get to that game 5 in itself is already going to be difficult. These early starts are going to be so crucial. But folks, crowd, I'm looking at you. I'm going to ask you, who are we rooting for? Let's start things off. Who thinks Atlanta FaZe is going to walk away with this? I didn't hear much. I didn't hear it. All right, who do we think Seattle Surge is going to walk away with this series? Okay, a little more.
Okay.
Right. I'll tell you what, that's not what my pick'ems say, but who really cares? Pick'ems are out the window. Like I said, I'm kind of surprised. I was thinking people are going to be like, oh yeah, Atlanta FaZe, of course, let's go, FaZe, let's FaZe up. Not at all the case. Crowd, all in favor of Surge. And when FaZe walked out here, Stud, it was, like I said, it was quite a bit of booze, quite a few people having some words for them. So with that in mind, we'll see how Atlanta FaZe handles the pressure. Now time to put their heads down and really focus on the objective at hand. As here we go into the Moscow hardpoint. Surge with preferred spawns, but P1 starting things off is Prestinni on the flank. Octane, that's going to be 3, make it 4 in a row for the time. Arcitys, the last player alive for FaZe.
Yeah, and Seattle doing a great job. And just to go back to our keys to victory, we expect big games out of Octane. We expect big plays out of Gunless. But our key player in this series has to be Prestinni. If he can match that energy from both of those AR players and keep up in the slaying, then they have a good shot at doing that. As Atlanta FaZe, they're able to break in towards this P1 hardpoint. But with 20 seconds left, Seattle's still controlling the spawns for that P2. So they're not too bad about it. You just have to find a couple kills off this rotation and not force the spawn out. But until that happens, Gunless is going to spawn all the way across that map.
We get ready to call it out, saying, okay, if it does happen right on cue, Gunless spawns out, but a little work out in their favor. As Atlanta 3 strong through the boulevard, you're gonna be running into the first line of defense. That's gonna be classic. That is the best way to start off. Hey, you know what? You don't have to take down Atlanta with your guns. How about we rely on the nades? As Simp and Classic meet for their first duel, and Simp is there to have some words. Surge grabbing the lead and look to be holding on to it as the trades still working out in their favor. A big hill inbound, and so far they have dominated. Cellium finds a lane for the time. Simp now set up for a little bit more success. Prestinni gets caught in the crossfire. Now it's Atlanta's turn to try and take over this hill. He and aBeZy starting to heat up a little bit. Has some words for Octane from afar, and just like that, Atlanta FaZe, they break in.
And with 20 seconds left, you know that they have to start thinking about that rotation. So you have to pay attention to what Arcitys is doing through that street side. He's going to be able to make his way all the way through the backside bank, as Simp does find that kill in towards the middle of the map. But with this teammate dropping, that player is now going to spawn out. Now it's all on Arcitys and Simp off the rotation. Can they find one before this hill pops? But now that Seattle are going to be fully set up, they have to try to hold this backside, and it's all going to be on Gunless.
Arcitys.
Wow.
Good friends with Gunless. That is straight business out of good old Alec. An aid for his troubles. The Simp is told to handle that one. Nice toss there from Sam LaRue as the Surge once more. Pressure put on despite a rotation that they had. As Prestinni does spawn out toward backside. He and aBeZy could run into each other. Nicely held as Arcitys takes down his twin brother. Cellium now on the flank. Be the last line of defense, and there we have it. Surge with a bright moment. They get the rotation after losing time at P2. Are now able to lock things down over at Fountain. Prestinni beginning to heat up as now he's on FaZe's radar.
Oh my. And they are playing beautiful hard point right now. Prestinni, he was all the way pushed out towards that statue, and he's able to relieve the pressure from the Atlanta FaZe players on that side of the map, but the pinch is coming in. Players from Atlanta coming all around the map. That's going to be 3, make it 4 dead. A nice, clean, early wipe from Atlanta FaZe is going to allow them to get set up properly on the street hill.
50 seconds in this first set of rotations. aBeZy, the first line of defense as he falls. Now it comes down to the second. Tiny tear into the mix. Did FaZe level the score, or will we see Surge break on in? We'll have to find out through the comms as we go to our Astro listening now with Atlanta.
Great bus.
I'm going mid. Please time.
In this time, I try to get the gold top.
Top globe.
I'm flashing. I'm
Top globe, absolutely dead. Another globe.
She tried to go.
Bottom globe, press him. Might come up your time.
I'm premium.
Gold dead.
Try to get time.
Yeah, I'm.
Street, Sam, one shot done.
Absolute time.
I got two.
Absolute.
Rotating mid.
Nice. So we spawn big.
That's an old.
Let's get old.
One shot, there's 2 old.
Only one shot. I'm He's top yellow. Sam is already top yellow.
I'm watching my back just in case because we're spawning.
Yeah, there is one behind us.
One pillar in the bus, Nick. Wait.
Yeah, my glove's open.
Nick winning the gold, or he went straight, okay?
I have the pinch.
We're playing every side right now.
He's taking corner.
I'm flooding in time.
I'll
tell you.
He named me.
Alec, have your push.
Nick's gold now.
Nick gold dead.
That's an absolute.
One more Prestinni.
That's an absolute. He ran away. He ran this side, yeah. Make sure we're playing the same side, alright, guys?
I need our close
Play
left.
globe. I'm gonna try to go globe. I'm gonna watch over you guys. Watch you guys left. Look your right.
Oh, no, left. I don't know how many.
One's globe on mid. Nick globe. Nick one shot globe. Nick one shot globe.
I'm waiting. Time, Sam. Sam on time. One shot taking globe dead.
Take it.
I'll see him take it.
Sam, he's the guy on streaks.
Yeah.
Time person dead.
Nope.
On my side, time dead.
No streaks. I pushed straight already.
They're double looking half wall, guys. Double looking half wall. Pierce. They're behind it. Talk to each other right here. This is break right here. Spawn SPs. I'm sure your backups here.
Inside closet down.
Nice. 2 left. One middle. Are you killing him?
Everybody's on time.
Nice, baby. I'm globe. Push him out.
I don't see him in the back.
I'm globe right now, right?
He's top 10.
I'm hitting top.
Well, Stud, we joined the Atlanta FaZe at pretty much the perfect time. They struggled over at P1, but again, it is another break here at our money hill, at our second hill of the second set of rotations phase. Once more in, now on an 8 streak that finally does get silenced from Octane, but he runs right into the line of fire out of MC. Surge doing everything they can to try to fight on back, and it appears that they have done just enough to grab the final 25.
It's great work from the Surge, man. I know that they messed up, at least off the initial, losing a couple gunfights, flipping the spawn, but to be able to break back into it, get at least 25 seconds off of that P2 is exactly what they need. Now it's all about focusing off the rotation, and Octane, he's going to have a huge one-on-one versus Cellium as he's able to spot him. But just keep in mind of where aBeZy is. They're going to be able to trade him with that hill pop, and he should be able to still spawn with his teammates. And Cellium also wins a huge one-on-one versus Octane to secure the spawn.
Prestinni, another big gunfight there versus his brother. Finally does get tagged down. But again, you talked about him, Stud. Prestinni, such a major player in this series. As Classic is hitting shots from afar. taking the spotlight away from Prestinni. Has a nade as well for Arcitys. Hold on a second. 38 points left here at Fountain, and the Surge are not giving this one up. They're going to try to go for the contest. Gunless beats down Cellium. Octane wins one versus Arcitys, and now it is down to the tiny terror, Simp and aBeZy here on the point, and Gunless, that's going to be his second in a row. Dealing damage, taking down players, and with 20 seconds, the Surge, they break on in toward Fountain, and now it's Prestinni leading the charge. And so far at the Major, Prestinni has a 1.46 KD.
Unbelievable plays out of him, and he's going so huge off the rotation. He's able to find two. His teammates are able to help him as well, so they get 20 seconds off of that P3. Now they're going to be fully set up for this P4. They just have to try to at least hold the bank side, as Cellium is going to be able to win that one engagement. Prestinni now spawning all the way across the map. He's going to be able to set up for the pinch, so Prestinni's going to have a big play. He's going to have to try to come behind Arcitys and pick up this kill as the pinch is coming in from FaZe, but he's going to lose that gunfight. Seattle still keeping control of the hill, but it's only a matter of moments before FaZe are able to break in.
Yeah, and really, normally at this point in the game, so we'd be saying, oh man, that's a huge hill for Surge to lose, which it is, but given the score, this is one that Atlanta needs more than Seattle at this point in the game, given that Surge once more are prepared for P2. Now, they haven't done a great job at locking down that money hill for the entirety of the time. Last time we did see it, it was a successful hold toward the end, but Simp begins to heat up. That streak is going to come to a close. And now with that fight victory, look at those spawns from Seattle. They spawn out. Now FaZe put in the driver's seat. You could not ask for a better spot now here from Atlanta to get the final points at Boulevard, and now they're positioned for success. We'll see what Surge can do at P1, and in the process of trying to put on some pressure at the money hill for next.
And that's a huge gunfight right there from aBeZy to take control of Eskies. See, the pressure is still here. Seattle have full control of P1 right now. Prestinni winning that huge engagement. But they're not too mad about this being a contest fest. If they can win a majority of these gunfights, they will be able to flip those spawns. But still keeping it contested, you're not too mad about that one. With FaZe still keeping the spawns for that P2. There's going to be 30 seconds remaining on this. If you're Seattle, you got to try to get a good chunk of time here, because you have to force yourself to break in towards that P2. And with Octane and Gunless shooting the way that they are right there, that's a couple more kills to go in the feed, a couple more time to go on that score line, getting closer to the finish line for Seattle.
Closer and closer. FaZe gonna contest now at P1. Again, they do have spawns, but take a look at Classic. Classic may have snuck on in. Keep in mind that number 7 arrow, as he could start to spoil things. 160 to 215, a hill that will no doubt change how this one goes. Nicky D winning the early engagement, traded out from Arcitys. So it's a 3 versus 3, but with Atlanta spawning here, Arcitys lays down 2, and FaZe are in a much better spot. There goes Prestinni. Gunless having a few words before he might have to exit off of this portion of the map, but is there to take down one. Arcitys on the other side, trades back and forth, but it's a stick from Arcitys. Nades back and forth. Seattle, they're still here. The Surge, they are still firing somehow, some way. Seattle are not giving up, and they will grab the final seconds here. They're going to be at 2:45, somewhere around there. Once this hill comes to a close, 5 seconds away. Now coming toward Fountain, and Prestinni is not stopping. He's not stopping. Continuing to be a problem in the back of the base. Atlanta, they're getting taken down.
Seattle right now, they are spawning up towards Bank. They have the pinch player in Octane coming through the front side. If he can open up with the kill, that'll be huge. Great shots onto one, trying to take down the second, but that's going to be enough done. They are getting those back spawns. FaZe spawning all the way across the map. Seattle might be able to close this one out.
It looks good. FaZe, they don't have a lane. They don't have an opportunity. Can anybody get here in time? Can Simp around the corner? And no! The Surge answering in the opening hard points.
Oh my God.
What is it?
Can't believe this.
What is it about land? What is going on?
That's such an insane first game for Seattle, man. To come out and take that opening hard point versus Atlanta, who were just coming off of that tough love versus Røkkr. I was expecting them to come out and just steamroll them on that map 1. That was one of their hard point picks. We've seen FaZe dominate teams on that map, But Seattle, they had such a great response every single time on that P2. When they didn't have the spawns, they were able to break in and just keep the junk time on their favor. But just great plays from the entire Seattle team. Teamwork was on point, the pinches were on point, the setups were on point, and they're able to take that map number 1. Insane, man.
Crowd is literally yelling, "Let's go Octane," and for good reason. He goes 20 and 18, but really the primary story goes to the other guys, right? 24 and 17 from Gunless. Classic 27 and 24. My goodness, Surge, as we mentioned on land, they taught us you cannot underestimate this roster in this environment. And now with the crowd on their side, they rally and win our opening hardpoint. Stunning the Atlanta FaZe to start, but my goodness, this series is far from over. This is gonna be a good one. Make sure and stay with us as Game 2, Search and Destroy on Express, is up after the break.
Seany, the official eyewear for the CDL. Armor your eyes with Seany Blocks blue light protection glasses by visiting seany.com/gaming. The Call of Duty League is brought to you by ActiveStat, the next generation analytics platform built with Google Cloud that brings fans, players, and commentators the power of competitive statistics in real time. Get insurance savings and discounts from USAA, the official insurance partner of the Call of Duty League.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Stage 5 Major. It is Day 3. The Atlanta FaZe taking on the Seattle Surge. Seattle answering early with the opening hardpoint victory onto Moscow, but now let's focus the attention back toward Atlanta. Let's talk about FaZe a little bit more. This upcoming mode, Search and Destroy, still I feel like, oftentimes we talk about FaZe. Hey, all these guys, Search and Destroy background, great players historically, but as of late, Search and Destroy, it's not been oh so good.
It really hasn't, man. When you talk about this Atlanta FaZe roster, from top to bottom, they have S&D stars. Anyone has the ability to hit the 2v1 clutch, hit the 3v1 clutch if it comes down to it. Just as of recent, they haven't really seen a lot of success. The only player right now in Major 5 currently over 1.0 is going to be Simp with that 1.25. Yeah. And I know it's a small sample size because they only played one Search and Destroy versus the Røkkr, but that game went all the way to a 6-5. And the fact that Simp is the only one positive in that situation is crazy to me because we usually see these guys steamroll in Search and Destroy, but as of recent, it hasn't really been working out for them.
Yeah, I mean, as we mentioned, when it comes down to this Atlanta FaZe group, I mean, again, as we talked about the Stage 5 Major numbers in regards to KD, like we said, it's just one, it's just one small map in particular versus the Røkkr. But again, Search and Destroy, it has started to falter just a tad bit. But now the thing is that when we come into this Express Search and Destroy, I mean, don't get me wrong, historically, Surge, they love this map. Like this, we've talked so often about Seattle and how, you know, Search Destroy has not been great for them. You know what, I think the record is like 4-14 since stage 4, but you look at that record, 5-2, this team, they have found comfort on Express.
They really have, man. It's a lot due to the SMG presence. When Prestinni is that guy opening up with the first bloods is when they see a lot of success. We see it all the time, especially with Express, the way that they're able to work these catwalk areas, set up these late pinches, and win those huge one-on-one engagements. So for Seattle to come out and try to take this one, I know they have a more positive record, but I'm heavily looking at Prestinni because he is their playmaker, and he's the guy that has to go huge in these one-on-one engagements across the map by himself.
Yeah, obviously very familiar with the Tiny Terrors, very familiar, of course, with his twin brother Arcitys. Tell you what, man, he had Alex's number in that first game. I feel like every time we were on Prestinni's perspective, he was getting a crazy headshot versus Alec. But see how the Search and Destroy goes. A much slower start for this round number 1, specifically out of the Atlanta FaZe. But the primary target for it is because they focus more of their attention at A, when in reality, Surge playing the aggressive start over at B. Octane gonna gun Cellium from long range. It's now gonna put Simp and Arcitys into 2 versus 4. Classic, somewhat aware of those positionings. Prestinni, and as we mentioned, on the hunt for his twin brother. That was exactly where Arcitys is turning, and boy, Alec knew he was there just a split second later. But a well-dominated round from Seattle.
Just so clean right there. They knew exactly how Atlanta FaZe wants to play. They know how aggressive that they can be on certain rounds, especially on that flank. So they spread map right off the rip. They slowly work towards B, and then Gunless, once he finds that first blood, he gains that information that the second player is going to be there. Octane with some great shots to make it a 4v2. At that point, it's really difficult for Atlanta FaZe to clutch up. Seattle walk away with the first. But now with Atlanta on the offense, we saw them play this map versus Minnesota. They did a great job at least trying to get this bomb down in A super quick, but you just see what Prestinni is already doing. He's being so aggressive towards catwalk that I don't know if Atlanta FaZe are going to be able to read this so quickly.
Simp, he wants to shut around the corner. He does spot Gunless. I was going to say, loses his chance on Classic, but Prestinni, he's found the lane. He's found the lane. He's right behind Arcitys. Great trigger discipline, and now does get the information on his Cellium as well. So Surge into the 3 versus 3. aBeZy having Octane's number, but it's once more Prestinni. Now 3-0, getting tagged up, brought to 15 HP, tosses the trophy and decides to maybe go for the defuse. Simp is here, aBeZy from the top, and now it all comes down to Classic. In a crazy 1 versus 2, everybody's shots are firing, there are trophies going, there are bombs being planted. But as the dust settles, it's Atlanta.
That was almost a beautiful play from Prestinni. The trigger discipline right there. He was trying to get Arcitys to run into one of his teammates potentially and pick up a 2-piece, but right there, Atlanta FaZe just doing a great job at just picking up those trades, being aggressive towards Prestinni, soloing him out, then forcing it to the 2v1, closing out the round. Atlanta tied up 1 apiece. Back on the offense for Seattle. Prestinni sitting at 3-1.
I mean,
very first round, they decided to spread map, and it worked out for them, so this time they're going to switch it up, though, with the aggression towards B.
And you can just tell us that. I mean, the body language, the way the characters are moving inside of the game, Surge, they just look comfortable. They just look to be in their element. Once again, it is another battle between these two. Prestinni dodges the nade. Literally whistles right past his ear, but he takes down Arcitys. And once more, an engagement where these two meet up. And based off of that play, it will put Surge with man advantage, with the bomb to look out for. And Prestinni's still in the mix. He's going to be behind 2. Put some shots into Simp. Has taken down half of the team. That's going to be 3. And aBeZy gets wiped away.
Prestinni's going off. He's going off to start this game, man. He opens up with that first blood onto his brother in Arcitys, and it was just great work from him. Obviously, the early shots come in, but he uses that tactical perfectly. He knows that he's an assault rifle player. No way he's going to be rocking that tac mass, and then just full sends it for the first blood, and then eventually finds 3 on the round. Prestinni having himself a game in this map number 2. Gonna have to keep up that performance because Atlanta FaZe back on the offense. They're going to be, once again, going towards that A-bomb.
Of course, it's Prestinni, the man to lead the engagements, but Simp has his number this time. you're an Atlanta FaZe fan, you can have a little bit of a sigh of relief, but only for a moment, as Classic there for the trade. Now 3 versus 3. Arcitys now with the bomb. And Surge, they did bet on the opposite site, so that will not work out for them. And the problem on Express is that you have a train track that you have to walk through, a railroad that you have to venture through if you want to get to this site, but that is the best way to do it. Classic. Great elevation, tosses out the nade. Is he and Gunless will be able to take down one, but aBeZy still alive. It's gonna be a 1 versus 2, and Gunless, he says, you know what? I'm gonna hop on the defuse. I don't have a problem going for the digits, but now aBeZy takes down Classic. Gunless, he's on it, but aBeZy spots his head, takes him down. You saw the entirety of the round. Gunless wanted to go for the defuse. He knew that had to be the game plan versus a player like aBeZy. What a round it was toward the end for him. Involved in such big ways. What a 1 versus 3?
Yeah, that was a 1v3, man. He plays the clock beautifully. Once he wins that huge one-on-one engagement versus Classic, he still thinks that Gunless is going to be on the bomb. But once he gives up his positioning, he just backs down. He plays the clock beautifully. He knows that Gunless eventually has to hop this bomb to close out this round and clutches it up for his team. What looked like a scary round for Atlanta. Seattle the potential to go up 3-1. aBeZy bringing it back with 3 kills on the round.
Huge round there from aBeZy, as we'll just continue. I mean, it's undoubted. Again, Prestinni, he's feeling it. 6-2. We'll look to lead the charge here for Surge. But it's aBeZy, just around the corner. In the other train. He's gonna know the trophies are down. He knows exactly what the play is. He knows they're going for the plant, but he doesn't get enough tags on the Classic. Now he could be the one for in a precarious spot. Trades down, but it's Arcitys who's able to give FaZe the man advantage. And with that, the bomb also drops.
.45 seconds left on the clock. Seattle, they have to try to work towards this bomb, and Gunless is going to even up the numbers, and Octane finds one as well. So just what went from a 2v3 is now a 2v1. All left up to Cellium. He's able to spot Gunless. Able to win that first one, but Octane here for the trade. Cellium's actually going to win it and clutch it up for Atlanta in those final moments. Big round right there out of Cellium.
Started off 0-4 in this game. Young MC putting them on a mixtape. Wonderful shots there from Cellium. Big moment for him, as that will give Atlanta FaZe the edge in this game too. So again, we talk about the crowd. It's just a different atmosphere for this FaZe team. Again, and obviously we don't talk necessarily about how it's only been online success for this team, because of course that's not the case, but it's just been so long. I mean, what Lottie said at the start of the day, 511 days. Gonna take a toll on a few, or rather on a few rosters, and this one to be specific. Prestinni, oh, aBeZy. There to drop him. And again, anytime you're able to take Prestinni down for the first blood, you will breathe a sigh of relief if you're a FaZe fan. I'm sure the players are as well. Things come to a halt for a moment for Cellium, but it's the objective. Getting the job done. Arcitys looks to lay down the digits, but here comes Classic. Classic now from the back. Simp's gonna spot him, tags him up through the train. Bullets aplenty, but Classic is able to find one. Arcitys there to take him down. Simp on the other side, now leaves it on to Octane. 28 seconds. Can Sam LaRue go big? Simp and Arcitys still to go through. And trying to utilize the movement, as now it'll be a 1v1, but Arcitys is there to take him down. And FaZe, they grab their 3rd round in a row.
I thought their Classic made the play. He was able to sneak through the flank, find his first kill, and eventually find the second. But just great work from Simp. Puts down some early shots here. The trade does come in eventually onto Classic, but he wins a huge one-on-one across the map versus Gunless, which turns it into a 2v1. With 25 seconds left, not too much time to work with. So Octane wasn't going to be able to clutch up. But FaZe, 2 back-to-back rounds. Taking a commanding lead right now in this search and destroy. Going back on the defense. So far, their setups have been... They're giving up one bomb site every single time, and Seattle, they have found that opening every single time. So once again on this round, they're going to be committing towards A, and they're going to force Atlanta off the rotation.
FaZe, well, they're aware of the play. They're not going to be able to do anything about it. Prestinni ventures into Arcitys' line of fire. We'll see how FaZe looks to go for the retake. We got one player trying to venture in toward the flank. That's going to be Cellium. So he and Octane could run into each other here in a moment's notice. Meanwhile, at the site, it's Surge with man disadvantage, but there you have it. Classic now bringing it to a 2 versus 2 on the site, and Cellium, the flank is going to pay off. aBeZy with a nice movement takes one, and there will be the second. FaZe, a wonderful, wonderful retake, as that'll be the defuse, and that now puts them on map point.
Well, who needs to watch the A-bomb if you're going to be able to ring break like that, man? Great job from Atlanta, especially the player that worked through the flank to find that kill onto Octane. Then aBeZy. When you're up close and personal with this SMG, he makes it look real easy as he finds 2 to close out the round. Atlanta FaZe up 5-2, 1 round away from closing this out. If you're Seattle, you just got to think about these past couple of rounds. Prestinni has been first blooded and you haven't seen a lot of success. If you can try to turn it around and at least open up with the first blood is when they usually are able to win the round. But back on the offense for Atlanta. This time, Arcitys carrying the bomb, bringing this bomb slowly towards A.
Pulls up the 74U to start, so wants to lay down a little bit of noise toward that A site. Surge, so far, not completely sold. Pulling quite a few back angles, and as Octane backs up, to say it, that could dramatically change how these early fights go. He and Cellium battled so many times to start, but Arcitys started off at that A point, now goes for the rotation and lays down the objective. All 8 players still alive. Folks, that is about to change. Arcitys, first player here, trade going the way of Surge, and Classic once again having something to say. He gets taken down by the nade, but his job without a doubt is done. aBeZy continuing to win fights as it's all down to Octane versus the Tiny Terrors. He's got the pistol out. It got a little bit close, a little bit dicey. Does what he can, but it's going to be a victory in the books of FaZe. They walk away with the search and destroy, 6 rounds to 2, and now even this series up at 1 apiece.
That was great S&D from Atlanta. I'm pretty sure they were down 2-1, and then they brought back 5 straight rounds after that. So just great mid-map adjustments, not allowing Prestinni to be the playmaker. Getting that first blood onto him was when they were seeing a lot of success. Yeah. Arcitys was making sure that he was solely focused on his brother, as you saw him right there with that SMG in that very final round, trying to pick him up with another first blood. Right there, Atlanta FaZe, they just handle business, man. They didn't look as good as that on that map yesterday versus Minnesota, but today they fixed those little mistakes and they're able to get a clean win and tie the series up at 1 apiece.
Big game specifically for aBeZy. He goes 10-4, and I know in that search and destroy versus Røkkr, had like a 0.67 KD. Everybody was obviously going off in regards to the Røkkr. Simp, the only player for FaZe last time around. This time it is more of a great team effort, specifically aBeZy. Search and destroy menace looking incredibly solid. But you know what, man, we've got a U.S. Army tactical play to look at here in just a moment, and it is the man that we're talking about. Good old aBeZy here in round number 4, one of the many rounds that FaZe utilized to bring this one to their favor. Stud, what'd you see here?
So this is the round where Classic, he puts a lot of pressure in towards this top side. He finds this first kill, at least Gunless does with the nade, but then this is aBeZy left in the 1v3. His teammate drops across the map. He finds that first kill on the Octane. You see how the clock is still only at 20 seconds. Gunless thinks that if you're Classic, all you got to do is just stay alive here. But once Classic drops, it forces Gunless off the bomb. Then it's all about playing the clock at that point. aBeZy does it beautifully and just hits some great shots to eventually clutch up the round for his team.
aBeZy, a problem and search to destroy. He gets unleashed here on Express. That one has to hurt if you're a Surge fan, considering how great that Express historically has been for them. Well, folks, we are level at 1-1. It is Garrison control to find out who will take the lead in this series when we come back after this quick break.
Seany, the official eyewear for the CDL. Armor your eyes with Seany Blocks blue light protection glasses by visiting seany.com/gaming. Scuff, the official controller of the Call of Duty League.
Folks, we are celebrating the COD League Stage 5 Major with a giveaway. One winner will win a controller of their choice featuring the winning team's design. To enter, make sure to retweet this tweet, follow @ScuffGaming on Twitter, and of course, feel free to go ahead and tag a friend. This giveaway does end Sunday, August 1st at the end of the broadcast. Make sure to go ahead and get your chance of walking away. Who will be featured on that Scuff controller, though? That is the question. Well, from the controller, now to controls. Now, let's talk about a few of these numbers, specifically for the Atlanta FaZe, right? Because we can talk about a number of different times FaZe, despite, losing 2 of their last 3, faltering versus Chicago, losing versus the Røkkr. It seems that control has really been their backbone, regardless of what's been going on with their season. Obviously, a majority of it has been dominant. Look at these numbers. Unreal.
Nope. Number 1 in everything. So if you're FaZe right now, you're not too worried to go into this map number 3. They're going to be playing Garrison, where they're 17-4, and on the opposite side, Seattle are 8-11. And it's not to say that, Atlanta FaZe really enjoy this map. So does Seattle. So this is going to be a great one. But when you take a look at our control KDs for Major 5, Cellium sitting at a 2.44, which is absolutely insane.
That's disgusting.
He's the only one, though. He's the only one basically above a little bit more than that 1.0. And on the opposite side for Seattle, they've been looking good in control. This has been their game mode at the beginning of the year that they were struggling with so bad. But towards the end of the year, this is where their backbone has usually come in. And then going into a map like Garrison, this is where that success story in this game mode has all started for them. So this one is going to be a battle between both of these teams. But just number 1 in everything for Atlanta FaZe, gotta be scary.
Yeah, that has to be terrifying, obviously, if you're the Surge. But at the same time, you have had a good home so far on Garrison, as we discussed. When the control woes were desperately happening, Garrison was the map that was good for them. And, we talk about the record for a team that is ranked number 12th in the CDL, or at least around the 12-11 region. Except Garrison, the record doesn't look too bad. So all things considered, both teams happy with the environment, but you're never going to be thrilled if you're taking on the Atlanta FaZe here in some control. It's 1-1. Who will take the edge in the swing mode? The numbers, they would say Atlanta. But on land, we know this could be a totally different story. I feel like every time that I do see the Atlanta FaZe play, though, Stud, it's Simp having some unbelievable play here on Garrison. Just one of the many players to look out for, as always. But here we go. We've highlighted it. We've discussed it. Now it's time to get into the game. Surge starting things off here on the attacking side. What an early round could do for their confidence. But right as we say that, aBeZy ripping that confidence straight away, taking down 2 players to start.
He's able to find 2, and now you see all of Atlanta starting to put the pressure on, trying to set up for that trap, possibly build towards some potential streaks. So that's going to be a nice 4 down. Atlanta have full map control, and this is not a good start from the Surge. You have to try to break out of this, because if you allow someone to pick up some early streaks, this game can be closed out in the very first round.
Yeah, Seattle just trying to put a few players in a good position to get some picks, but first player is going to be Arcitys, so there's the pick. Surge instantly going to need a reply. Simp's able to take one down from top green. Classic there with the trade. aBeZy's position is going to be known, but he has some words for Prestinni as he tries to make his way inside of the lights. It is 4-0. The man on your screen finally does get dropped, but with 25 seconds left, Surge, they've got to make a play. Gunless continuing to try and get something going that could be the momentum that they need, but again, they've yet to get really any progress, as that will start. They have 15 seconds now on the clock. Gunless has got to do this one by himself. He's able to stay alive, though.
12 seconds left. They have to make sure to secure one of these points and at least extend this time by a minute. And when Classic and Octane finding 2 kills, the first tick of progression is going to come in towards B. The 3 stack is also coming in. They do not want anything to happen here. They want to be able to extend this round a little bit longer. So now the first capture is going to come in. That's going to be 3 segments. Prestinni and Classic also find 2. So you see number 2 and Simp. He has to try to back down. He has to play his life because the pressure is going to come in from top green now.
Oh, it's Classic's turn. Prestinni, only man that's going to be here as he'll get dropped as well. So with that, the early push wiped away there from Seattle, but still 50 seconds to work with. Down in life count, and that doesn't seem to be changing anytime soon. It was aBeZy on a 5 spree. Arcitys nearing that department also. Obviously, we know Arcitys to be a great flex player, could pull out the Krig, but 74U on Garrison doing a great job so far with it, as this will be the potential last play out of the Surge. What do they have up their sleeves? It's Octane with the early pick. aBeZy actually gonna get dropped. It's Classic for the trade, but it's Atlanta doing a great job at evening the numbers as Simp will take down Gunless from top green. A great answer here out of the Atlanta FaZe. 15 to go. Surge gonna have to sprint in order to get here in time. With these numbers, it's gonna be a 2 versus 3. Players trying to make their way inside of top green. A 1-for-1 to start, but as time ticks away, nobody from Seattle able to get there. All things considered for Surge, you do capture a point. That's great. But it's Atlanta securing the defense.
They almost had that round too towards those closing moments. I'm pretty sure it was Cellium and Simp in a 2v4 situation. Once Classic picks up that kill, and they both pick up 2 to eventually secure the round for Atlanta. That was such a big play from the boys on the Atlanta side to at least make sure that they secured this first defense. And I'm pretty sure that Simp will go into this offense at least on a little spree, trying to work towards some streaks, make it 4 exactly. But if you're Atlanta, you know, you get the job done on defense. What response do you have on the offense now?
We'll get to witness exactly how that will play out. We've seen so many 3-0s here in Stage 5 on Control. The majority of that is just certain teams adapting, figuring out how to walk away with these attacks. And as we said, there is nobody better in any situation than Atlanta FaZe in anything Control related. So you have to imagine they're pretty good at walking away with attacks too. So far, a more commanding beginning. How Surge managed to look. Classic is able to take down 2, so that will stunt the push from FaZe for now. As Arcitys does get dropped on that B point. Sit now the farthest pushed up player. Major fight to win, but it's the 74 U's from the Surge. They're able to wipe away that early beginning.
Yeah, and that was a huge kill from Classic because that's going to shut down the streaks on the side of Simp. So now if you're Atlanta, you have to try to secure this B capture. And so far, lives are basically tied, but there's still 44 seconds left on the time. Seattle not really committing towards this B point. As you see, though, Simp does win that gunfight towards green, so you're going to force those wrap backs to come in from the Seattle players, and this should leave B point wide open for Atlanta.
Looks to be that way. A few players making their way in from green, and aBeZy has a nade right at their feet prepared. They will walk on through. aBeZy's the only player right now, even in a stone's throw to the base, or rather in a stone's throw to the zone. So finally have a teammate to join alongside of them. Classic has been so great so far throughout this series. Not able to put away another double kill. So FaZe continuing to rack up the time and continuing to remain in place at that B zone. 30 seconds on the clock. That's about to turn into 1 minute and 30 now to work with at A. Can Surge hold? That'll be the question to ask. As Prestinni, Classic, Octane all combining for 3 from the skies we go. And Prestinni's able to wipe away all 4.
And now it's time to put the pressure on. And Prestinni hitting some great shots. Going to be on the 3 spree. Just being so annoying to the players in Atlanta. The minute left, down by 3 lives. They have to try to fight out of their base. And it all starts with the opening kill. With Gunless and Prestinni shooting the way that they are right now, it's going to be difficult to get out of this space. But that fire barrel is going to help a little bit. But still, Seattle having control of the map right now, not allowing FaZe to get any positioning.
It's going to sting in the morning if you're Prestinni. That's 2 down. Next 2 players are actually going to be inside of artillery, so they've got to be careful with their lives. Octane, the only member here. This is going to be a lane for FaZe to utilize. Getting somewhat caught off guard. The final 2 players are the ones that are in the most disadvantageous position. Is now to be a headbutt here into the zone. 10 to 13 in lives, advantage for Surge, but Atlanta regrouping. Atlanta starting to get a little bit more of their bearings. As aBeZy now could be on the flank. He's got nobody actually to look at in the point, so now he can focus his attention toward the back, but he expresses himself just a little bit too much. Octane's there to cut him down. It's a stack on the point for FaZe, but can it only continues. Surge begin to rally on fourth. It's Octane for one, and it's Prestinni for the second. Stopping the push for now. Can aBeZy fall? And yes, he will. Prestinni with another major fight to take. And Atlanta left with 18 seconds. Can they get here in time? Can they make a play? As we said, the scariest team in control. What a round it would be. What a rally it would be. Here comes the final sequence. Gunless for one. There goes two. Arcitys, though, is going to be able to drop two. Simp, meanwhile, is going to fall. And with that, the FaZe push will come to an end. Surge, they escape, and they take a defense.
Great hold from the Surge, man. Great response. You need to make sure that you're securing your defenses. I know it got a little scary towards the end, but they were able to clutch up with some key gunfights coming in from Classic, taking down 3 to close out the round, and eventually secure it for Seattle. Tie it up at 1 apiece. And the good thing is no one was able to pick up any streaks, even though Classic is having himself a great game so far. 16 and 16 on a 3 spree. They need to have a different answer on this offense, or at least capture that B point, because right now Atlanta are leading by 1 segment.
Great point to bring up. As we said, that round 5, if we get there, all based on how you play in the early ones. This is Classic. Not going to be 4 in a row. He's going to stay alive based off the nade. Okay, Nicky D. All right. Classic. He is showing up. He's had a little bit of a shakier beginning since he joined the Seattle Surge, but he'll not be able to tell a single thing now here in the LAN environment. So also take down Simp for his troubles. So a little bit of progress made from Surge over at that A zone, but you see it, FaZe, they have exploited it. They do get the mid-map control, and now it's Surge in the back of their base. And it's going to be a task to try and escape out.
Yeah, they just have to try to find that opening kill. Right now, Cellium doing a great job of just cutting these players down as they're trying to flood out of dark. But Octane's a great shot. Simp through the rat hole. He's able to take down one, but gets traded. And then eventually, Atlanta FaZe are able to find all 4 kills. So now Seattle once again off spawn. They are tied in segments, but you want to make sure that you're at least able to capture this B point. As they find 3 kills, you're going to see Prestinni start pushing up immediately towards that brick side, trying to set up for a couple more spawn kills.
That tactical does not hit him. Cellium has no idea that he's here. So Cellium's going to walk through this position and say, okay, bricks is clear, when in reality, it is not at all the case. Some presence made, but it's Prestinni who's dancing. He is dancing right now. That B zone just moments away from being captured. And so while Prestinni finally does get taken down, it is enough to give his teammates some clearance over at that B zone. Minute 18, Surge, can they claim the attack? A major fight on the point, but it's aBeZy who's able to win it. It's FaZe holding strong so far in the defense.
Seany with a huge kill though. Fortunately, it's going to get traded. So now Seattle, they have to try to set up this push. You cannot try to flood out of top green because we saw the way that turned out last time. Simp was able to go on a little bit of a spree, but see the aggression from Seattle. Starting to approach to this backside. Octane in a great position in lights. Currently down by 4 lives. Seattle with 45 seconds left. They have like 1 or 2 good pushes to try to break through. But FaZe, they're just doing a great job of just picking up these kills in their spawn and not allowing Seattle to have a full setup on trying to break into this one.
Yes, we said they are number 1 in every single category for a reason. They are going to make you work for every single attacking round. It's not going to be something simple. As with 18 seconds left, more of a slower end to this, but it is a trade. And here comes the push. Can Seattle make some magic? Classic will be able to escape for the time. Does take down aBeZy and also shuts down Cellium. Once again, it is Classic leading the charge for Surge, but it's Simp on the other side who's able to take down 2. Prestinni winning the 1v1. We stop ourselves at 1.1 seconds. It is a 4 versus 2. Gunless and Prestinni versus the rest of FaZe. But as the nade comes in, it's all on to Big P. It's all on to Gunless. The trade is in, and it's FaZe who claim victory this time. Surge gave it their best effort, but it was not enough.
Simp just went so huge, man. The fact that he finds 2 kills before dropping, and then even though Prestinni eventually gets onto that point, those 2 kills were so impactful because Classic was able to find 2. Prestinni was able to find 1 player off spawn as well, so it was all left up to Simp. If he drops without picking up any kills right there, Seattle had the opportunity to close that out. But they did a great job of just capturing those segments in that round. They completed 5, so now they're up by 4. So if you're Atlanta FaZe, you at least need to complete 1 full point and get that progression, at least 1 segment on towards A, to try to get that defense going into the round 5. And as we get back into this one, aBeZy early on the speed point.
Surge, heavy presence inside of green. Arcitys is there for 1, has to pull out the pistol for the 2nd. Made it look as if that's what he intended to do. And that'll be the 3rd on the Classic just in this round, a 5 streak right now from Arcitys. And if you're Surge, you've got to cut this guy down. You cannot allow for him to go on a roll like this. 1 more kill, and we have got streaks on Garrison. Not able to put in the work on the end, but again, if he just sits in the objective, if he's going to go ahead and roll here, he's going to earn the streak. So yeah, he's got it. Has the ping ready to go. So the B zone is going to be captured 1 minute and 50 on the clock. If you're Atlanta, you have the streak to work with and a cruise missile that could be joining it momentarily. He's already pinged it, so to go just based off of what his teammates' callouts are. Drops 1 in Octane, and here comes the charge from FaZe. But it's 3 instantly replied back from Surge. The streak doesn't matter. Arcitys does get the cruise, but it's Surge that holds.
Surge hold beautifully, man. Classic going huge with another 2-piece. At least he was sitting in this top corner, but they find that kill in the base, and now this is going to allow for their teammates on the side of Atlanta to flood out towards top green. You just have to delay this cruise missile, and he did a great job, curve it in there, pick up a kill, and Atlanta FaZe is moving so fast. That's going to be 2. Octane picks up 2, but FaZe still have 2 players here. They can close it out, but they go big. Seattle break in.
And of course, it's Prestinni once more. Prestinni versus Arcitys. And Prestinni's able to win it. 1 more tick needed from Atlanta, but it's going to be the most difficult one. 1 minute and 10 on the clock, and Arcitys will begin the charge. He and Cellium combined for 2 in instant. 2 versus 4 onto the point. Gunless, the last man alive inside. Prestinni doing everything he can, but he gets dropped. It's going to be a round to remember from Arcitys, as FaZe will take the control 3 rounds to 1. But that closeout round stud, it starts and it ends with this man here.
Yeah, just great plays from Arcitys, man, to pick up some early streaks into this offense. You know how impactful those can be when you're trying to hit out towards that 8 point. He uses the artillery strike very first time, and Seattle, they were able to respond beautifully with 3 down. But then once he picks up that cruise, he does a great job of just finding those 2 kills and then keeping top green control. He allows his teammates to pick up that kill from Seattle of the player that tries to push to their spawn, immediately calls in the cruise missile, and then they just stack the point. The segments were going so fast. Atlanta were able to close it out and now take a commanding lead in this series at 2-1.
And I know we obviously highlighted the numbers, you know, first in every single category, and shout out to our stats team. It showed there in our in the lower bar, Atlanta FaZe 18-2 now in their last 20 control games. It was never going to be an easy task for Seattle, and despite what was a great effort from them every single round, it's FaZe, it is Arcitys who have the answer. I mean, it really has been a battle of the twins. Prestinni leading the Surge, Arcitys leading Atlanta FaZe. But will this one be done in 4, or are we going to be headed to a game 5 for this series? It's going to be a blast. It's going to be a fun one. When we join you back, it's going to be Raid Hardpoint. Make sure and stay with us. Welcome back, folks, to the Stage 5 Major, and there you see our amazing crowd here that has joined us for day 3 of Stage 5. What a wonderful day it has been. What a wonderful set of matches that we've had, but the best part about it all is that we are not even halfway done with this day. As you said, the crowd has been electric, the matches have been fantastic, and we currently find ourselves in Game 4, an elimination match between Atlanta FaZe and the Seattle Surge. But Stud, let's talk a little bit more about Atlanta FaZe. We got to talk about what really how they have performed in regard to the first 4 stages. Now, so far in Stage 5, you see a little bit of the dip in a few numbers.
Yeah, so in the first 4 stages, cut by cut, Atlanta FaZe were the #1 team in the game, and they showed it every single time we watched them play. But so far throughout Stage 5, a lot of these other teams have finally caught up to the level of Atlanta. That's why we see Minnesota playing so well. Dallas Empire still being in that top contender conversation, and also Ultra. They're all catching up right now to Atlanta FaZe, so that's why you see the numbers dropping off a little bit. But you don't have to be worried if you're FaZe. You just have to make sure that you're consistently improving. And right now in this series, they're up 2-1, going into a rated hardpoint where they have enjoyed it for the majority of the year. They're sitting at 9-3, but also for Seattle, they're at 7-3. So they like this one too. I feel like this battle between these two teams, at least on this map, is going to come down to the ARs. I'm looking at Octane on the side for Seattle, and I'm looking at Arcitys off of a big game in that map number 3 to be there to match them.
All right, well, we know who to look out for, and shout out to our stats team for giving us this number. Atlanta FaZe currently on a 3-game hardpoint losing streak. They have not lost 4 straight hardpoints all season long. Well, if this could be a W for Surge, I mean, what a shock. What a shock to the system it could be for FaZe if we were to head to a Game 5. But can we get there? Will this be Seattle's final map of their season? Or can they continue to impress and send us to a Game 5? As here we are on raid, starting things off. It is Atlanta controlling well here at P1.
And they have the good spawns too. They were able to find 2 kills right off the rip. They're forcing all of Seattle to just flood straight down through driveway, and Atlanta FaZe have finally woken up. That's going to be a clean 4 dead with about 35 seconds left on this P1 hardpoint. Seattle have to start thinking big picture. They're going to have 4 push through middle to try to flip these spawns. There's a couple players from Atlanta being in this position to cut these players off. But so far, they're winning the trades, and they're able to get in towards that kitchen to try to flip them for that P2.
Take a look. Simp actually does spawn out. He spawns toward, I believe that was Wait or bottom garage. So with that, I love this play from Seattle, but it is a worthy investment. All things considered, it's high risk, high reward, and so far, there's yet to be any reward up to this point, especially with aBeZy playing the way that he is. Now sitting at 5 in a row, his teammates tries to set him up for the 6th. It is a straight 50-0 beginning out of Atlanta. Surge, they try to invest in a P2 rotation. It does not work out, but they do break on in. This could be their chance to end aBeZy streak. And if you begin to line up 3 strong out of spawn from Atlanta, aBeZy continuing to perform. Cellium now, his turn on a streak, as that'll be his 5th in a row now. But it is Surge having struggles, having problems, trying to break on through, as the nade will seal the deal. It'll close the case. That's a 2 big ones out of Octane. Everybody trying to do anything that they can. So with 20 seconds left, Prestinni trying to wiggle his way throughout the kitchen, just dodge a few things, get past the counter, right around the oven. He's the one getting burned. Atlanta, a great beginning, as they'll take solid control of P1 and P2.
Yeah, and if you're the Surge, you're not really mad about that because you were at least able to contest it for about 40 seconds, and you're going to be able to keep these spawns for the next. But one player, at least a couple players, there's so much pressure on the middle of the map happening right now that 2 players from the Atlanta FaZe are going to spawn right at that AC unit. But with 1 player dropping, now Seattle full control right now. It's all about eliminating this player off the pinch. They have to try to take care of aBeZy. Their setup is so tight right now. They're able to find 2 kills, which is going to slow down the pressure, eventually find the aBeZy. Now that's going to secure those spawns towards that AC side and force all of Atlanta to try to break through that zigzag.
You can just see, I mean, the amount of flexibility the Surge get once they know that aBeZy is no longer hanging out toward back ACs. Just gives them the freedom to roam. But again, FaZe, they're going to hit the pedal to the metal here at Garage. They'll claim the final 13 seconds. Biggest note is that while Cellium is gaining the time, he's not going to be there with his teammates Same thing with aBeZy. He spawns out as well. Is it his numbers for Surge? And that's big for them, but they've got to maintain them. That's the biggest problem. Cellium now once more finds himself on 5 in a row. This could be the final spawn out from Surge. A major fight happening. Surge and FaZe spawning out. It is an all-out frenzy here at the basketball court. 2 versus 3. They start to sandwich. They start to line up. And Atlanta looking good for the time. That's 3 straight for them. But Surge, they maintain. They're still here. Over at Waterside, they'll be the ones here first.
They're trying to just break him from the front. This is 2 hills right now where Atlanta FaZe did a great job of securing those spawns in the back, but Seattle just being so annoying, able to at least contest from the front. But Cellium picks up 3 in the feed. That's going to be the multi. 15 and 6 out of him, 13 and 6 out of aBeZy, and already off the rotation is going to be MC. He finds one, trying to find a second on the Classic. Unfortunately, he's going to lose that one. But just great time right here from Atlanta to at least get a good 30 seconds off of this basketball hill. Not being able to pick up streaks to break into this P5 is going to hurt you a little bit, but you have a good lead right now to at least go on a long flank, because remember, Route Man gets paid on this P5 hill.
That's without a doubt, my friend. Atlanta FaZe, a solid lead, but Surge with a solid hold. Like we said, keeping in mind what could be their final map of the season. The intensity has to be high. The comms have to be perfect. We'll see how those comms sound. Let's go and step aside and go to an Astro Liston now with the Surge.
Look Zig, I'm trying to look Zig.
Two right. Maybe pillars on me.
Two Zig, guy. Okay, one shot dead.
Full flash.
Nice.
Maybe. Last guy. One shot, free kill, free fucking kill.
I'm one.
Nice.
Good job, big one, good job.
You're Zig. Get out to new. I spawn water, go to new if we can.
Him Zig.
You're gonna be
Yo,
closer.
close. Yo, I died on time.
Alex
Get on time.
I'm trying to, they're holding it.
Nice. I got laundry.
Alex on new.
However, for laundry.
Are you on laundry?
He's gonna go outer.
No, outer dead.
One's hard flash and Zig. I'm full flash.
I don't see the guy outer.
Yo, bottom mark.
Cellium. Not outer. One's gonna be close.
There's gonna be 2 bomb
here.
One shot way in. Chris,
One
one shot
shot behind you.
One shot part.
Beyond us.
I'm flashing him. No, he's top laundry. He doesn't know you're there. He ran away.
They're on both sides.
Nice, top laundry still. Top laundry.
Got me. I got one laundry.
Chris up time.
I middle. We have middle.
Laundry steps. Pretty sure it's fucking aBeZy.
Laundry steps. Tyler dead.
Nice, that's 4. Last guy.
Outer. Blue bin.
Alex,
They're gonna be close laundry on you already, Preston. They're gonna be close.
I'm waiting.
Laundry steps right now.
Look at up top.
Yeah, he's on time.
Look at top.
He's killing on time.
MC, one shot top right corner dead.
He's looking at you.
Our side.
Nice.
Outer.
I'm going middle, boys. I'm going middle.
Laundry steps. I'm dead.
Nice, go.
They might spawn out.
They are.
One spawn here. They like to play through mid. Remember, they like to play through mid.
I know. I'm in Zig, guys. I'm in Zig.
I
have bottom R.
Still tree.
Go in Zig.
It's hard flash tree.
Back to me.
No one's Zig. He's middle. P5 weak, Alec.
Got me right there.
I don't see Alec. He's just crossing already.
Alright. They spawned out. They still spawned out. 2 and new. Yeah, they are there.
Full flash.
Go to the back.
I'll play no mid here.
Let's see if they
I'm waiting for you guys.
I don't see if they can open steps.
I don't see him. I'm sliding.
Slide across, yeah.
Jump.
Nice, big one, Preston.
Right,
He's tree, on tree, Preston. On
Here,
tree.
I'm challenging tree with you.
On tree, guys.
I'm challenging tree.
Anything to take note of from the comms there, Stun?
I just love how aggressive they were in their comms. Like, they were able to pick up a couple kills off of that P1. Octane with a great 2-piece onto aBeZy on that top corner. And then they immediately just pushed forward. They were trying to flip those spawns. But what Atlanta did so well was just basically Simp was just getting that 2 pieces secured in the back. But as time continues to go on, Seattle were able to flip these spawns and they're gaining a good chunk of time with 30 seconds remaining on this kitchen hill. They can grow this lead wide open if they can hold this time.
And they break in it right just the right time. If Surge, with 20 seconds, 15 seconds left, they start spawning out, or rather spawning in kitchen, that could be disastrous. But they're gonna grab a decent amount of time here, so it'll be around 182 to 129. Keep in mind that player in Cellium, he's not gonna hop inside the hill, not wanting to reveal his position. It's a matter of, can Surge break in here fast enough before Cellium will make the pinch? As they begin to make their way inside a weight room are the Surge. Ready to lift, ready to go, but it's Cellium once more. Causing some problems, he gets dealt with. Classic, meanwhile, winning a major fight, does get traded. A valiant effort there from the Surge, but it's FaZe who hold on again. Thought it would be Cellium who could make the major play, who could be the thorn in their side, and while he was, it was the rest of the teammates that were starting to rally. Atlanta not going to reclaim the lead after this, but without a doubt, they're going to be in a good position going into our basketball court. A player does spawn out into aBeZy, so a major 1v1 onto the point. A huge moment here for Surge as Prestinni is able to put away Arcitys. So the final 15 gonna go the way of Seattle, but it's the rotation now to our basketball court that we have to focus on. FaZe, they cannot afford to lose this. They cannot afford to allow for Seattle to get something going. Classic, able to drop one. Final player toward the back is gonna be Prestinni, trying to lay down some fire and wait for his teammates off spawn.
He has to wait for that late flank to come in from aBeZy. And it looks like he reads it perfectly, but Gunless with the trade. Seattle trying to approach this from that top side. Atlanta FaZe starting to spawn out towards low water. So Classic, he's going to do the good job of just cutting this one player off in aBeZy. Unfortunately, he's going to lose that gunfight. Atlanta FaZe find 3. They're going to be able to take that back control as well. Even though Seattle is still spawning out towards Laundry, this is not the situation that they want to be in.
Not at all, my friend. Arcitys, once again, putting away 3. It's the headshot on the Prestinni. Octane spawning here. Okay, that's fine. Not a big problem. Oh, and Simp does get dropped. Classic. How great has he been in this series? Still some big points. Either which way, Surge are going to vend to go for basketball court, and they have got players prepared. They have got Octane and Gunless with the AR setting here. Prestinni in from money window is able to cut down one. Big 1v1, but aBeZy wins it. The Surge, that investment toward basketball. They had a little bit of a lack of numbers at P5, and that will come back to bite them. 198 to 219. This one is incredibly, incredibly close. How can FaZe look to continue to hold this right now as they are within mere seconds from taking the lead?
And they can't win it here. But Atlanta FaZe with a great hold so far. Seattle just trying to find that opening, trying to open up with the kill. And that might be it right there with Gunless picking up that kill onto Cellium. The pressure's going to come in from Zig. It's also going to come in from Killers. And eventually Seattle are able to break in. That's going to be 3. They cannot win it here, but they can still grow this lead. Cellium and all of Atlanta FaZe spawning out towards lower basketball. They have to start thinking about that rotation.
They have to. It's a 10-point game. There's 10 seconds left on the hill. It's a race. It is a race toward the next hill, and Classic wins a major one there versus Simp. A massive fight for him to take. As now it's a 1 versus 3 inside of the hard point, and Arcitys falls. It's a 1-point game, but Surge, they've rotated. They're prepared. How do FaZe come off of spawn? Simp instantly met with some fire. Great awareness from Prestinni, as now he puts the Krig away. It's time for the 74U to go to work, as that'll be 2 for him. 5 points away. 5 points away from the Surge. Can they get us to a game 5? And you bet they will.
Oh my God. I cannot believe the start to this day, man. Seattle not winning only 1, but 2 hard points versus a team like Atlanta FaZe, man. That's the first time all season long that they have lost 4 hard points in a row, man. Momentum is heavily in their favor. Big plays from Classic so far in the hard points. I gotta talk about this guy, man, because he has been one of those players for Seattle that have just been struggling. He's been really struggling. He was like negative in 20 straight series. But in this series specifically, versus FaZe, to step up like the way he is in hard point, with tremendous 2 pieces off the rotation, tremendous one-on-one engagements to slow down streaks, he's having himself a series, and Seattle, they're able to force that game 5. Wow, I can't believe this one.
You saw it for a moment. Octane was shaking his head. He's like, okay, we're doing this. We're doing this. We're sending this one the distance. Stat we mentioned coming into this was Atlanta FaZe. Never have they lost 4 straight hard points all season long. But this one is number 4. As you said, Stud, Classic 30 and 27. Nearly leading the entire lobby in overall kills. How great has Nicky D, as you mentioned, Stud, been in this series? Unreal stuff. We got to see how social media is reacting to this one. Our social soundboard powered by Astro. We go, what is happening? We are witnessing greatness. I think it's time for FaZe to start panicking. Surge, a different team on land, and that could not be more well stated. A Surge team that has struggled so mightily in the online atmosphere. When they've come to land, they've been different. Stage 4 to stage 5, they are now sending the top dog the distance. It is number 1 versus number 12 in the standings. And we have got ourselves a good old game 5. Folks, when we come back, it's time to figure out who is staying alive, who is moving forward. It is standoff, search, and destroy when we come back. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Stage 5 Major. Atlanta FaZe, Seattle Surge going the distance. Let's keep on topic with this Game 5 situation. It's an 8-6 record for Atlanta throughout the year, and it's 2-6 for the Surge side.
Yeah, so obviously Atlanta, they got a little bit more ice, but a lot of those records, at least for the 6 losses, keep in mind Atlanta, they have yet to lose a series unless it's under 5, unless it was the only matchup versus the Røkkr. Røkkr was the only one that were able to complete it in 4. So you can just see the stats are a little bit better on the side of FaZe, and then you pull up the stats from these game 2, aBeZy really went off, man. 10-4, 2.5, really taking over the game with his first bloods. He's so impactful for this Atlanta roster. And then going into this standoff search and destroy, I feel like with the amount of pressure is on for both of these teams, we're gonna see a nice, slow and steady S&D between both of these guys. 2-3 for Atlanta, 0-4 for Seattle. But if anything, numbers mean absolutely nothing, because there's no way I was thinking Seattle were gonna come in here and take 2 hard points, but they get the job done, and now we're gonna have a great Game 5 between both of these great teams.
Set the stage well, my friend. As we mentioned, Surge. I mean, it's fair to say, coming into this series, you know, we all thought, okay, great. You know what, Seattle, they've been great on LAN. They've been great at the Stage 4 Major. They've been actually now better at the Stage 5 Major, but we all thought, right? We all thought Atlanta FaZe were gonna come through and just dominate, roll this team like they did the Subliners after Atlanta lost to Chicago. They outslayed New York by 73 kills after they lost, and now Surge, they are smelling blood in the water. But how can they lock this one up? As we said, that it was what, coming into the major, it was number 12 versus number 1. I know Surge's numbers have changed a little bit based off how much better that they've been lately, but here we go, my friend. Standoff, search and destroy. Walk me through it a little bit. I mean, what are your thoughts on this one? Players to look out for, just in general, how you think this map is going to play out between these two?
I think just of the momentum that is in the arena right now, the fans going absolutely bonkers. You're going to see both of these teams just playing real slow. No one trying to take the calculated risks on this map. But if I'm looking at 2 players to really take off, I'm going once again back to Prestinni. He is their guy. When he's opening up with first bloods, it's when Seattle usually see a lot of success. So the pressure from him and the pressure from aBeZy, he needs to be able to match that, because aBeZy so far in the season, he's at a 24% rate for that first blood. You cannot allow him to do that here in this Game 5.
All right, aBeZy, obviously a player to look out for. And as you mentioned, the numbers, insane, especially at the start of rounds. So here we go into our first. If you begin to line up, but no official tags, the Tiny Tears weakened, but by no means out. Classic, he's actually able to drop one for the first blood. Gunless there on the reply. That's 2 to start from Seattle, as it is all down to Arcitys and Cellium, and now it is all on to aLLeY. A 1 versus 4 to start. Takes 1 for his troubles, but it is a well-controlled and handled round there from Seattle.
Just the aggression right there to just fight right through courtyard. They get that early call out that multiple players are trying to attack towards A. They get the first blood with the nade, and then Gunless pushes up right into that bomb, takes down aBeZy, makes it a 4v2. And Seattle, they just kept the pressure going. They know that they have the man advantage. They have the numbers advantage. All they have to do is play the trades, and they were able to walk away with the very first defensive round. Great plays right there out of the Surge.
Yeah, excellent plays there out of Seattle. Great way to start off this standoff search and destroy, as they will now take their first opportunity at the attacking side. Thought for a moment we could see a similar play we've seen in a few other standoff search and destroys, both ARs. Okay, they actually do get back with each other. I was going to say, kind of go for the instant crossfire. I believe Arcitys maybe for a moment did meet the hand of Octane, but he does back up. So while a decent amount of fire has been laid out throughout the round, it beginning to echo throughout the streets of standoff. Nobody yet to drop as of yet. Prestinni and Classic now inside a courtyard. Simp, one for the jiggle, has a little bit of an opportunity to maybe get this one, but it's Prestinni. aBeZy though for the reply. It's an overall trade that is gonna favor Atlanta. And as that bomb falls, it only puts more pressure now onto Gunless and Octane. So here comes a major fight. Gunless having to back up, but he has set up Octane well. But where is that extra player lying? aBeZy and rejoin alongside the other two.
With the bomb being down, this round is so much more difficult, but Gunless finds the first. He's not unfortunately able to win the second, so now it's all on Octane in a 1v2. He knows the positioning of both of these players. He's not going to be able to plant this bomb, so he has to try to kill both. He finds the first, but Cellium able to close it out for Atlanta. It looked like it was a scary round from the Surge as they were able to at least find a couple kills, but with that bomb being down in Delhi, it was only a matter of time before Atlanta FaZe were able to walk away with it. They tied the game up at 1 apiece.
Oh man, nice reply there from Atlanta. As you mentioned, it got a little bit dicey there toward the end, but Octane not able to finish off the final two. So with that 1-1 and back toward the attacking side does go FaZe. Cellium with the hat trick in that last round. He'll now be on a streak coming into this. We'll see if that can really start to bloom into anything. He'll put a few shots there in toward the picket fence. Again, an aggressive attempt there from FaZe, but Surge trying to make them work for any bit of map position that they want to try and get. And with that, Gunless having to back up. The Tiny Terror's putting a little bit too much pressure on him.
Prestinni
Tries to make the route, but Simp's there to hunt him down.
What looked like to be the opening. Now it's on Classic. Classic's able to find two. Gunless with the third. And just went from a 4v3, it's now a 1v3 for Simp and Seattle. Make it look easy. Even with Prestinni finding that opening through the middle of the map, he gets picked. But Classic, he's his Batman to his Robin, as he was able to find two on the flank and eventually close out the round. Seattle go up 2-1.
How great was that teamwork from Surge? How great was that teamwork from Surge? Gunless was in the early gunfights, calls out for his teammates, but it's Classic who makes the play. Seattle firing on all cylinders. As we said, man, I mean, how great has Classic been? I think I've said that
he's unreal.
5 to 6 times, but this is his best series without question that he's had all year long.
Yeah, Classic really enjoys land, and that's what I'm getting from this series so far, man. He's having himself a day. And he needs to continue to do so to try to close this one out. And the early pressure coming right up the middle of the street. Classic's actually going to open up with the first blood. Keep in mind, he does have that bomb, so you have to try to stay alive. But Prestinni trying to go for the second onto the player in Delhi, not able to pick up that kill. But Classic still being able to push through, able to find the second. He knows the positioning of Arcitys. Nicky D is having himself a game. All left up to aBeZy in the 1v3. He's going to get shut down. And the Surge are having themselves a great game 5 so far.
The players have got to hear the crowd right now. There is no question about it. In this moment, Stud, every time they get a kill, the crowd just erupts. Unbelievable stuff. And Seattle, he just continue to fire through, and right on cue, Arcitys, I think, yeah, the tank, it just blocks a little bit of his perspective. I think Classic with the slide, maybe gets a little bit of an angle, maybe with that slide, with where the gun sits on your screen, he's able to sneak on through and take down Arcitys. Seattle up 3 rounds to 1 with Classic and Gunless leading the way. A huge round instantly for the Seattle Surge, as here comes the early utility. Tossed out, exchanged for both sides. It was a B target for Surge that they were prepared for. That will free up the site now for Atlanta. Bomb goes down.
Now it's going to be a 4v4 retake. Keep in mind that Classic is still on that 5 spree, so Prestinni, you got to try to break for him, because if he can pick up some streaks, this game is basically locked up. But Prestinni was able to sneak through. Some bad timing coming in from Arcitys. He's able to pop that first blood, and this is where Classic is able to help him. He spots that player in towards the top and trying to take him out, but Cellium goes huge with the Diamante, able to find 2. aBeZy with the third. Now it's all on Octane in a 1v3.
18 seconds left. He has so much to do in a short time to do it. Cellium from one angle, the Tiny Terrors hanging out at the bomb site, and there you have it. Atlanta FaZe responding back. An exclamation point here in round number 5. I mean, it was Prestinni that started things off quite well. He escapes, but it's Cellium. 2 big ones there with the Diamante, and assist in taking down Octane for that final kill. FaZe not going down. What could have been a 4-1 start. Now we are back at 2 rounds to 3. Surge, another attempt here on the attack. As we said, Classic still leading the way. See how things begin to change. Cellium gonna toss out some early gunfire from the start. Take a look at Prestinni. Take a look at the angle that he gets granted toward middle street. Meanwhile, with Simp being a little bit comfortable there on the flank. aBeZy is here also. And that'll be the first blood for FaZe. Major play from the Atlanta side, and Prestinni, he's gonna get found out. He's gonna get found out, but he's still alive. Only for a moment though. Arcitys, great awareness to take him down. It's now into the 1 versus 4 from Gunless. The biggest of tasks for Big P. Prepared for moments like this, but again, you've got 4 players literally rearing ready to go at a moment's notice. The 2-man flank from FaZe works out successfully.
Yeah, I think it was just aBeZy being able to sneak through. There was no players on the side of the Seattle Surge that were able to pick up that information. They spotted Simp, but with aBeZy opening up that first blood, eventually getting out with his life, is exactly what he needed to do for the team. So now tied up at 3 apiece. Cellium on a 4 spree. And aBeZy and Arcitys on 2. Going back on the offensive attack. Do they decide to be aggressive towards A once again? So far, when you're watching Seattle, they're just taking so many calculators right through the middle of the map. Once again, taking control of Courtyard. This time around, though, Simp is going to open up with that first blood.
Classic drops, but it's Octane on the instant reply. FaZe somewhat slowed down for the moment. Prestinni looks to reposition, just ensuring that back alley push. Not going to be a likely one, but he could run into Simp. Simp may try to reposition. Meanwhile, aBeZy is going to get this bomb down here at A. And he will get good timing. Takes down Simp. It's Surge with the advantage. 3 versus 2 retake. FaZe having players coming in from multiple directions. How do they manage? aBeZy to the mid street, but it's Cellium who's able to drop Prestinni now a 2 versus 2. Octane getting some information for 1, but he falls as well. It's all on to Gunless. All on to Gunless in the 1 versus 2. Tries to put in some shots over on Cellium, but he's able to escape. He's able to get away, and just like that, FaZe a clean end to that round. As now they've got the advantage.
Even in the man disadvantage right there, in the 3v2, all they have to do is just find this kill on Prestinni. Once they do that, they know that both players are going to be pushing from their side of the spawn. So they take control of the middle of the map, they find this kill on the Octane, and then just did such a great job at just not giving their lives away for free to Gunless. As that is going to be 3 straight rounds now for the Atlanta FaZe. Those mid-game adjustments are coming in, and also Cellium on a 7 spree was able to pick up that artillery. What a perfect time to try to turn up for your team is going to be Mr. Cellium.
Huge plays from MC. It's 3 in that last round. And as you said, has got the streak. Now Seattle look to deal with it. Whether or not they're aware of that or not, they're about to be. Here comes the streak. Is he going to call it in? Seattle, how do they react? Accordingly, Prestinni able to take 1 and also finds the second, but he is going to get traded out from Arcitys. Surge with numbers. Classic, maybe the first person have to try and make a play, and he does. It's all on to Cellium now, all by himself. Keep in mind, any kill would be big. If he's able to find this, this would be for the streak. Stud said he has to challenge, and he's able to. So it is looking likely for this to be a round for Surge. But at the very least for FaZe, you are going to have that cruise missile going forward. But well played from Surge. Well played out of this group as they're able to bring it to 4-4. But again, Stud, not all negative if you're Atlanta.
Definitely not negative, because you're able to at least pick up that cruise missile on the side of Cellium. But just early aggression right there from Prestinni right to the middle of the map, able to find 2. And they did a great job in that round because they knew that Cellium has that artillery. They knew that they had to get that bomb planted down soon, because then eventually they can properly set up and no one dropped to that artillery. That was the biggest thing. Once Classic picks up that bomb, he jumps himself into the square and stays alive the entire time. So Seattle were able to tie it up at 4 apiece. Keep in mind, that cruise missile could come into play, and with Cellium shooting the way that he is so far in this map number 5, he's going to open up with that first blood.
That is just absolutely terrifying, and Prestinni is going to get found out as well. 13 and 4 now for Cellium, but that's going to be a 2-player response out of the Surge. Bomb yet to get planted out of Atlanta, but all on the Gunless and Classic. In this defense, They're going to smart each other for a time. And that will be the objective now planted. FaZe taking the pressure off of themselves and now applying it toward the Seattle side. One player from one side, one player from the other, and Cellium says, oh yeah, that's right. I've got the cruise missile calling it in, but Classic, he's able to escape. Classic gets away in just the perfect amount of time, but again, 25-second surge. They've got to get something done. Gunless has to get involved in the fight, but they know where they are. They know exactly where they are. It's Classic's turn. That's going to be 2.
Oh
and
my.
there you have it. Seattle avoid the streak. And they will put themselves on series points.
Can't even believe that. If you're Atlanta FaZe, you need to be able to close out that round. That's 2 streaks so far on this game number 5, where they have yet to find any single kill. Classic doing a great job of just getting away with his life. He knows that he has to put the pressure on. Atlanta FaZe needed to win that round, but he goes so big on the flank, finds not 1, but 2. He has been the unspoken hero so far for the Seattle Surge. I cannot believe the way that he's playing today, man.
Can they do it here? Is this where we call it curtains for the Surge? Or will Atlanta send us to around 11? We're about to find out in a very quick manner. Arcitys putting in a few bullets toward the tractor as here comes the nade. That could be big. That's massive as Octane's able to find the first. Classic. Everybody explodes and that will be it. That will be it. Seattle getting one of the biggest upsets in CDL history. A new environment and a new team. Bow down to Nicky D.
I can't believe it. I cannot believe it. We're talking about #1 on the entire season versus number 12. They were able to beat FaZe in not 1, but 2 hard points and then clutch up in a game mode that they have been struggling with for quite some time. They have yet to find a win on that standoff search and destroy, but they were able to clutch up at the very end of that game, man. You gotta give it to the guys on Seattle, specifically Classic. He was not afraid to make plays. He is their bomb carrier. The guy was carrying the bomb all the way in there, spawned with no worries in the world. He was just picking up kills. He's so unreadable in Search and Destroy. He goes so big in this game 5 for them to continue on in the tournament. Wow, I cannot believe that series, man. This is not going the way I expected, but this is one hell of a story for the Seattle Surge.
Fans letting Atlanta FaZe know. I'm not sure if you can hear it on stream, but they've got some words. They have got some words. Seattle. Unreal. As you said, it was David versus Goliath. 12 versus 1 coming into this. And for the first time in a major this year, Atlanta FaZe, they don't make it to the finals. Again, they have made it to every final so far this year, and now they go out top 8. Crowd giving their respects to Prestinni. What a year it has been for Seattle Surge, but boy, does this have to feel sweet. As we said, not going to be at champs, but this is their champs. It's the moment to breathe, the moment to take it all in, to realize, what have we just done?
As much as Prestinni's at a loss for words, so am I. I can't believe that they just did that, man. The play from Classic throughout this entire series was insane. The guy was dropping so many engagements in both of those hard points. And then to get it all the way to that game 5 versus Atlanta and get them to use not 1, but 2 streaks and not have any sort of impact on the game. Man, Seattle, they're looking good, man. They're looking good.
They are. Seattle, that's now their 3rd victory here so far at the Stage 5 Major, pulling off one of the craziest upsets we have ever seen in Call of Duty and the CDL. Unreal stuff. And now to break it down, it is Jess, joined alongside by Prestinni.
Thank you so much, Lando. That's right. Let's make some noise for Prestinni! We are back again for your Game Fuel Victory Spotlight. Let's not stop the noise for Prestinni during this interview. All right, so Prestinni, what a win. Can you take us through what you were saying during that match?
Yeah, basically, you know, it's obviously the best team in the game. My brother, bro, I think I just, like, the passion comes out on land. You know, we're so much better on land, and, you know, I think we've proven it here.
So you've said it's always raised stakes playing against your brother. I mean, how sweet is this win, though, upsetting the other team?
I mean, nothing to do with Alec. It's just sweet to win again. You know, even the top team, even if he wasn't on the team or not, like, us beating the #1 team in the world, feels good to be on the map again. So, you know, we struggled this year, but we made something happen finally at the end. A little bit.
So you tweeted, "I'm still that guy, I just forget sometimes." I mean, after a win like that, as you head into the series versus OpTic later, what kind of guy are you feeling like?
I didn't have the best series, but hey, my teammates pulled me through, man. It was a really good series. You know, I'm still that guy, like I said. I'm still confident as hell. Just had to remember, I had to pick myself back up.
That's right. Well, thank you, Prestinni. Once again, this was your Game Fuel Victory Spotlight. Let's keep it going. Back on over to the casters.
Thank you so much, Jess. And yes, Prestinni still is that guy. Oh my goodness, what an event so far. You see the reaction there from Seattle just moments ago. Shocking the world, taking down the Atlanta FaZe. It's all love, but again, we're stunned. We're all stunned. This really has happened. It really has happened.
And you can just see it on the side of Atlanta. Pure disappointment from left to right. You get to a Game 5 situation. You have not one, but 2 streaks in your back pocket. You should be able to at least walk away with 1 round. But losing it the way that they did, finishing top 8 for Atlanta, it's kind of scary, man. It's kind of scary for them.
Definitely does, man. And I know we always talk about champs. How does that now come into the conversation? We'll leave that for our desks to break on down, but we still got some gameplay to break on down, folks. It's our scuff play of the game. We are taking a look at who other than good old Nicky D, the series of a lifetime, an unreal end to this one. But Sud, walk me through it. How are they able to walk away with this round?
So once you realize that Cellium calls in a streak, you definitely know that both players are going to be on bomb site. They do not want to be caught in a situation where the pinch is going to come in. But what Seattle do so good is to make sure that they stay alive. And then it's all on Classic during this flank. Right here, Atlanta, they get some bad timing. They try to push out towards the backside, but they run right into Classic. Classic with the 2-piece to secure that round for his team. He was the player that didn't only force not 1 streak usage, but a complete 2 streak usage. He didn't die to that artillery, didn't die to the cruise missile, and they were able to walk away with the round, man. Just tremendous plays from him this entire day so far for Seattle, and I'm just still mind blown. Word to Nameless, I can't believe that just happened.
I can't either, man. Unbelievable. There's a look at our major tournament bracket here for Stage 5. Empire versus Thieves, OpTic now versus Surge, and we get Ultra versus Røkkr and the winners final. Unbelievable stuff. And folks, I mean, I tell you what, this crowd has been absolutely unreal, and we cannot wait to see them also at Champs, folks. You can witness the most epic moment in Call of Duty esports at the CDL Championship Weekend live in Los Angeles, August 19th to the 22nd. Come and see your favorite pros compete on stage for the coveted title of 2021 CDL Champions. Tickets are available now at callofdutyleague.com. We're stunned. We don't know how to react officially, but it's the Surge who eliminate Atlanta FaZe in top 8. When we come back after the break, it is Lottie and Nameless breaking down what we just saw and setting up the rest of this CDL Saturday.
The biggest upset of the year, Seattle Surge, the top team's villains, but the underdogs champions. Are you not entertained, COD fans? Obviously,